Annabelle, hello, Oscar, it's Grandpa here. I have to say there were some fantastic photos that Mummy sent of your Halloween celebrations. You obviously had a great time, lovely costumes, Annabelle, and yours was great too, Oscar. So I'm glad you had lots of fun with your friends. It sounded like a really super time. Anyway, I thought I would read a little bit more for Annabelle from Zoe's Rescue Zoo, The Lucky Snow Leopard. We haven't really heard an awful lot yet. What we read last time was that they were having a Christmas tree at the Rescue Zoo, and Meat was helping decorate the Christmas tree. And he scampered up the tree, he hung the bauble on a branch and chattered proudly, just as Lucy glanced up. Look, clever Meat's helping us. It's almost as if he understands what to do, added Stephanie. Well, of course Meat does, because he talks to Zoe, doesn't he? Zoe smiled to herself. Finally, there was one decoration left. Zoe's heart sank as her mum unwrapped a shiny gold star. Great Uncle Horace always puts the star at the top of the tree, she said sadly. We can't do it without him. Nonsense, snapped a voice behind her. Zoe groaned as Mr. Pinch, the horrid zoo manager, marched into the clearing. I'll put up the star this year. I am in charge of the zoo while Mr. Higgins is away, after all, he announced importantly. Noticing all the boxes scattered about, he scowled. Although, if you ask me, Christmas makes far too much mess. All that nasty tinsel and wrapping paper everywhere. I can't wait until it's over and everything's tidy again. Ooh, what a nasty man, Annabelle. He tucked the gold star in his pocket and started climbing the ladder that the keepers had put next to the tree. Zoe frowned at him. Mr. Pinch was always complaining, but she couldn't believe he was even moaning about Christmas. Suddenly a flash of blue appeared in the sky. It fluttered around the tree, landing gently on the highest branch. Kiki, cried Zoe, her heart thumping with excitement. There's Kiki the macaw. He goes with Great Uncle Horace. So is Great Uncle Horace going to come? Well, we're about to find out, I think. Kiki was a beautiful hyacinth macaw with glossy feathers and a long curved beak. She belonged to Great Uncle Horace and went everywhere with him. So that means, began Zoe, looking around eagerly. Hello everyone, I'm back, called a jolly voice. Zoe and the crowd turned around and everyone gasped. The Rescue Zoo reindeers, Ronnie and Ruthie, were trotting into the clearing. They were pulling a huge sleigh behind them, which had the Rescue Zoo symbol, a colourful hot air balloon painted on one side. Tucked inside the sleigh was a large wooden crate, and perched on the front seat was a beaming man with a white beard and a red woolly hat. Aha, so what's going to happen? I see I'm just in time to put the star on the tree. You didn't think I'd miss it, did you? He called cheerfully. Hooray, cried Zoe, jumping up and down. Great Uncle Horace. Well, now we're moving on to chapter 2. Do you see the reindeer? I think that sort of looks like Father Christmas to me. Yep. Chapter 2, A Snowy Arrival. As Mr. Pinch started climbing back down the ladder, muttering crossly, the crowd rushed over to the sleigh. Zoe had never seen it before. She ran faster than anyone, and Great Uncle Horace swept her into his arms for a big hug. Zoe, my dear, I'm so happy to see you. It's wonderful to be home for Christmas. This is one of the best presents I could have asked for, replied Zoe, grinning. But where have you been? Did you travel all the way on this sleigh? Kiki and I have come from a very cold place called Mongolia. Do you know where Mongolia is, Annabelle? You're going to have to ask Daddy. I don't think Daddy knows. I think you'll have to ask him to look it up and show you. So, Kiki and I have come from a very cold place called Mongolia, Great Uncle Horace told her. Excuse me. We got a plane home, but as we came through the zoo gates, we saw some of the keepers unpacking the new Rescue Zoo sleigh. I had it specially built so that visitors can have Christmas rides around the zoo. Wow, that would be great, wouldn't it? Isn't it splendid? Anyway, I guess you'd be putting up the tree, so I thought I'd hop in the sleigh and surprise you all. Now, I think I'd better put up that star. He climbed out of the sleigh and Mr. Pinch grumpily handed the star over. Everyone watched as Great Uncle Horace carefully climbed the ladder and fixed the star in place. Lights, please, he called down. Look, there they are. There's the Great Uncle Horace with the star on top of the huge Christmas tree, and there's Zoe and Lucy and friends at the bottom, watching what's going on. Lucy switched the Christmas lights on and the crowd cheered. The whole clearing was filled with a warm, cosy glow. Zoe had never seen the zoo look so pretty. It's gorgeous, she breathed. When Great Uncle Horace reached the bottom of the ladder again, he clapped his hands. Now, I'm sure you'll all notice that I brought something home with me, he announced, nodding to the crate in the back of the sleigh. And you must have been wondering what the new enclosure is for. Well, now I can show you, if it's ready. Excuse me. Mr. Pinch looked annoyed. I'd just like to say, Mr. Higgins, that this enclosure was very expensive to build. It was extremely difficult to have it finished in time, but we managed to. So it is finished, said Great Uncle Horace. Excellent. Follow me, everyone. He climbed back into the sleigh and Zoe cuddled up happily next to him, with Meep on her shoulder. Her mind was buzzing as she wondered what the new animal could be. Meep was trying to guess too. The crate's very big, Zoe, so the animal inside it must be too, he chattered. Maybe another giraffe or another polar bear. It must be an animal we've never had at the rescue zoo before, Zoe pointed out in a whisper. That's why the new enclosure had to be built. The reindeers trotted along gently and Zoe could hear from their grunts that they were proud to be pulling the sleigh. In no time they reached the new enclosure. The zookeepers arrived just behind them and Great Uncle Horace asked them to remove the wooden boards that kept it hidden. As the enclosure was revealed bit by bit, Zoe gasped. It was enormous and very beautiful. Tall, craggy rocks stretched high into the air with a sprinkling of snow at the top. There was a deep, cosy-looking cave tucked into the biggest rock and a glittering waterfall that poured into a winding little stream. There, look, there's the enclosure. There's Zoe looking at it. She thinks it's fantastic. There's the cave. So what's going to happen, do you think? It looks chilly in there, Zoe, squeaked Meep, shivering, and those rocks look hard to walk on. Maybe it's for some mountain goats. Perhaps the crate's so big because there are lots of them, Zoe whispered back. I know they like the cold. Great Uncle Horace asked for the gates to be opened wide and the crate carried inside the enclosure. Zoe thought it looked very heavy. She held her breath as the keepers unlocked the crate and lowered one side of it to the ground. There was a moment of silence as everyone waited. Then a pair of huge, creamy white paws appeared, covered in black spots. An elegant head peered out of the crate and sniffed the air. Very slowly, an enormous cat prowled out. A pattern of dark splodges covered her beautiful, fluffy white coat. Zoe, what's that? Hissed Meep. A snow leopard, Zoe said, gasping. Uncle Horace leaned towards her, smiling widely. Did you know they are also known as the ghost of the mountain? Because they're so rare, he whispered. And look, there's the beautiful snow leopard coming out of the crate. Whoa, that's exciting, isn't it? Then there was a meow from inside the crate. Aha, and the pattering of smaller paws. Zoe couldn't believe her eyes as a second spotty face peeped out. But this time, it was a snow leopard cub. So, Chapter 3, The Nervous Newcomers. Look, there they are. There's Mum with the new little cub. Aren't they beautiful? The huge snow leopard stared at the crowd with icy blue eyes and swished her long, fluffy tail. She bared her sharp teeth and hissed fiercely. Everyone understood that this was a warning to stay away from her and her cub. The smaller snow leopard cub huddled nervously between his mother's legs. Zoe could tell he wasn't a brand new baby. He looked maybe 3 or 4 months old. Zoe's mum took a cautious step towards the fence, but the snow leopard let out an angry scowl and she stopped. Oh dear, they seem very anxious. I need to check them both over, but maybe I should leave them to settle in today. Great Uncle Horace nodded wisely. The poor things have had quite a frightening time, he explained. They were living on a lonely, snowy mountain when a farmer moved close by, along with his herd of sheep. The mother was hungry and desperate to feed her cubs, so one night she took a sheep for them to eat for their dinner. When the farmer realised one was missing, he was very angry. He would have killed them if Kiki and I hadn't rescued them in time. Maybe that's why they don't seem to like people very much, Zoe said, gazing at the snow leopards. I think you're right, my dear, sighed Great Uncle Horace. The cub looked up at Zoe curiously, but his mother prowled to the back of the enclosure, settling down behind the waterfall where she couldn't be seen. The cub hesitated, then followed quickly after her. I'll talk to them when no one's around, Zoe thought. Then they'll see that we're all friendly here and that no one wants to hurt them. Wow, isn't that exciting, Annabelle? We'll read more, see how Zoe gets on getting to know them next time. That was so exciting. So, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Granny, who's just over there. And it's lots of love to you both, Annabelle and Oscar, and lots of love to Mummy and Daddy too. And hope we'll be catching up soon. Lots of love. Bye for now. Bye.